What's up, guys? My name is Frankie, and today I didn't have any plans to do a YouTube video, but I said fuck it. While I'm doing this, I might as well make a YouTube video. This is for a 1990 Nissan 240 SX hatchback, fastback, SE, whatever you want to call it. It does have a single cam engine, so I don't know if this relates to the dual overhead cams or any other Nissan 240 that has a charcoal canister, but if it has a single, I know that if it has a single cam, it could be the hatchback, it could be the coupe, this is for you. So if you're looking to clean up your engine bay a little bit and you want to get some things moved out the way, such as EGR and anything that has to do with emissions, and your state allows you to remove these things from your vehicle because you do not have to have it inspected, like Connecticut, any car over 20 years older does not have to have emissions checked ever, which is the best freaking thing in the world. So if you can do this, this video is a good video to watch. So right now I'm going to show you how to remove the charcoal canister, and also I'm not going to remove the EGR valve system yet because I haven't had the kit yet, or I haven't figured out a way to block off the ports to the exhaust manifold and going into the intake manifold. But I will show you where everything is and what you can do to block those off if you really want to. So let's get to the charcoal canister right now. I do have a few things that are already removed, but it's not that hard. Everything's easy to see. All right, so right here is your charcoal canister. If you're looking at your engine bay from the driver's side, there's your exhaust manifold, your brake master cylinder, your clutch cylinder. This is your charcoal canister. So your charcoal canister is bolted on. I don't know if you can see it over there. I believe there are two 10 mils, but I'm not here to show you how to remove those. In fact, I'm not even gonna remove this yet. But you do have 3 lines that run off. 2 are vacuum lines. I don't know what my light just shut off, but 2 are vacuum lines, and 1 goes all the way to the check valve in the rear underneath the car that heads towards the gas tank. So first, what you're going to do is you're going to want to trace this line goes right here. So this is the one that goes all the way to the back. You want to trace these 2 lines. So those lines come all the way over here to the passenger. So you're going to have your intake manifold. There's going to be this hose coming off. What I did was, because I don't have the nipples to go over the piping, or whatever you want to call that, I just cut that hose and I put RTV silicone inside where the screw goes and where it goes onto the tube. So that's sealed off. There's going to be also another hose that runs. If you follow, this is a whole nother story. Do not look at it. But if you follow the lines coming off of your intake, tubing, plumbing, whatever you want to call it, there's going to be these lines going underneath, and there's going to be a set of 3. I don't really know if you can see them. There's 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to have another line that comes off of the charcoal canister that comes down here. You can see I capped it off. I did the same thing that I did to this valve over here. It's just to make sure that you don't lose any vacuum pressure or anything like that. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take off this hose. You're gonna remove this. You can remove it however you want. You can cut it off, unbolt it, whatever. My bolts are more than likely rusted, so it's probably just gonna snap off. Now this hard line runs all the way over to where the brake lines are behind the engine bay, and it ends up coming down through underneath the car. So let me go get a light real quick and I will show you the line underneath the car. So now I would either jack up the car from the diff itself, or if not, just jack it up on this side, on the passenger side, wherever you want to jack it up. Let's go under. Let's see these lines so you guys know exactly what to do. Now there is a forum online that's really helpful, but some people are better with videos. So if you come down here, you'll see these lines, which are your fuel feed and return lines and your brake lines, and they run all the way down to the back of the car. So now you have these lines right? You're gonna have your feed, your return, your evap line, and then you're gonna have your brake line that splits off into a T to each brake. So the most inner line, which is this line, you follow all the way up. You'll follow all the way up that line right there with the hose connected. So you're gonna disconnect that hose from the check valve itself. Okay, so if you guys see the hose that I was talking about, you have one hose that leads all the way to the front to the charcoal canister, which is the evap hose. Then you have another hose that connects from the check valve itself to the gas tank, which there's a nipple on top of the gas tank. It's easier if you drop the gas tank. You'll have a lot more room to get to that nipple to take off the hose completely from there. So what the guy recommends is that you just take that hose directly off of the check valve, attach a barb fitting to it. I think it's a 1/4 inch barb fitting, and extend it all the way to the rear of the car, not to where you can see it, but you can tuck it away to where if you ever need to access it, you can access it a lot easier than it being under the car and having to jack up the car and all that crap. So the reason why you want to disconnect that from the check valve itself is I believe that once you disconnect the evap line, there's no vacuum to that check valve itself. So pressure is just going to build up in the gas tank, and once the pressure builds up in the gas tank, it could cause a crack, a leak, explosion, and that's something that we all want to avoid. So just disconnect it from the check valve itself. You can completely remove the check valve if you want, or you can leave it there. And extend that line to the rear of the car. You can put a filter such as, I don't know if they make it small enough. I don't know if they make them small enough, but like this is a filter that goes onto the valve cover, the breather lines to the intake. But yeah, if you can find a filter that fits that hose itself, I don't know the exact size of that hose, but if you find a filter that fits that hose, you can clamp it on there. It'll let it breathe, because no problem breathing. It'll let it breathe. It'll keep debris, dirt, dust, all that. It'll keep all that bullshit out of the line itself, so it won't go back into your gas tank. It'll keep anything and everything out of there. Water, salt, all that shit. So you won't have any problem of anything going into your gas tank. But that is how you delete your charcoal canister. So now, as I said I would, I'll tell you, because for one, I know that on 240SX forums, people do nothing but bash the fuck out of you. You can ask a question, they say, oh, use Google. Well, guess what? Google led me here. So can y'all just answer the question? And half the time, the people know the fucking answer. So it's like, why is it so hard to just say, hey man, yeah, I've been in your shoes. This is this and that is that. So I figured I'll start making videos on how my build's going and some things that I'm doing. That way everybody can just click onto my video, and I know I fucking talk a lot, but you can always skip through, and I at least get to the freaking point. So right now, I'm going to show you the EGR. I'm going to show you what lines run to what and what you could delete and what you're going to need in order to remove it. All right. So as you can see, well, this is to my little, okay. So your EGR, single cam EGR, is going to sit right on top. It's going to have two, I believe they're 12 mil bolts. If not, they're 10 mil bolts, because I know a lot of these were 12s and 10s and it wasn't consistent. So you're gonna have two bolts right here that hold it on. You're gonna disconnect those. You're gonna have a line that runs out and in, another line that runs out onto this little connector, which is pretty much an extender for our hose back here. Once you take those off, there's gonna be another hose underneath this hose right here. So there's this line that connects to a hard line right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do what I've been doing this whole time until I get nipples. Now you can get these caps that they sell at AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Harbor Freight, Advanced Auto, Napa. They all have these caps that you put right over. That's it. Me, I'm just try to be cheap, use a bunch of screws, and I'm gonna cut this line, put a screw in it with RTV. Then this line comes off. I'm gonna take this bracket off, clean up the fuel rail. Now it leads all the way to this hose. No, it just came off. Which leads to the EGR itself. Now the EGR is bolted one, and then on the other side, or all the way down here, there's two, and then there's a hole in the center which goes into the intake manifold. Now, what I've seen is some people will grab an extra intake manifold, and you see these screws right here? They'll take these Allen screws and they'll put it into that hole underneath the EGR itself, and it'll cap off perfectly fine. So that's what I plan to do. I actually plan to go find these brand new at a hardware store rather than go searching for a whole intake manifold, because I'm not gonna need a whole intake manifold just for this one screw. So I'm probably gonna do that, because online, the EGR delete kits, they don't always match up, and you could probably find this bolt for $1, probably less than $1, probably 50 cents, rather than paying $15 to wait for something to ship to your house and then cap off this one little section. So then there's this line right here that goes underneath this. I don't know what this is, which leads, which actually leads to another kind of like splitter extension. And that also, I believe that also leads to the EGR. But it's really simple. You take this, you unbolt this, you cap off the lines where they go. And over here, like I said, I gave you guys that little hint. You can buy another screw like this, an Allen screw. You can probably take some digital calipers and measure that out so you can see exactly what size you need. Or you can probably just take this out one day, use another car, go try to find the same one, and then cap off that hole. Looks OEM, fits perfectly fine, and that's something that I recommend. So there you guys go. That is a charcoal canister remove. And if you remove the charcoal canister, you might as well remove that EGR, because the EGR is useless at this point. So for a 1990 and probably up, I know that Ka24e, not a DE, Ka24 single cam, this is for you. That charcoal canister removal, the EGR system, because I don't think the dual overhead cam one is, the EGR is the same. I don't know about the charcoal canister either, but obviously I did it on my car. If you have the same car, you can do it on yours. So I hope you guys like this video. I'll have a bunch more videos of everything I'm doing to this car from now on, and you guys can like, comment, subscribe. You can, when you comment, you can ask, hey, how do you do this? Hey, how do you do that? I'll figure it out for you. I'll learn it for you. I'll do the forum searching and all that. Once I find one that works, I'll do a video on it and I'll post it right up. So hope you guys like this content. I'll have some more of it going, and I'll see you guys in the next video.